Hi everyone, today I want to talk about a book that really moved me. The title is Sjahrir, Peran, Besar, Bung, Kecil, or it can be translated to Sjahrir, the great role of small feature, part of Bapak Bangsa series or Founding Fathers series published by Tempo. Before we diving into the story, I want to tell you that Tempo is one of the most credible media institution in Indonesia, and that's one of the reasons why I bought this book. But another reason is maybe the first thing that caught my eye is the book designs. It's beautifully earthy, created by Bambang Nurdiansa. They have a really strong aesthetic and natural designs. As you can see, it's really beautiful. And among all of the Bapak Bangsa series, this was the first book that I bought because I always been curious about Sultan Sjahrir life. But honestly, what I knew about Sjahrir before I reading this book was only what is written in history textbook schools about Sjahrir urged Sukarno to immediately proclaim Indonesia independence. But after reading this book, I discovered a completely different side of him, a more human, emotional, and deeply reflective figure. There is a sense of solitude, idealism, and moral strength that I do never seen before. The book is open with an introduction by Arif Zulkifli, a Tempo executive editor, who explained the journalistic approach behind the project and how they tried to capture the essence of his story. And he also tells us about the criticism that emerged regarding this book related to the glorification of his story. There is one line that really stick into my brain. He said, "The perfect book is the one that is never written." We want to treat this book as a story itself, a record that we once felt to be perfect. Let's continue with the content of this book. Sjahrir was born in Padang Panjang on March 5, 1999, from a respected family. His father was a high prosecutor, where at that time there were three jobs that were considered extraordinary, namely Angku Duta, similarly doctor, Angku Guru or teacher, and Angku Jaksa, or prosecutor itself. From a young age, he known to be a bright, sociable, and passionate about art and sport. After finishing his study in Indonesia, he continued his education in law at the University of Amsterdam. In there, he became active in organization and discussion on socialism and met Maria, the woman who would become his first wife. In 1931, Sjahrir returned to Indonesia amid a tense of political climate. Together with Hatta, he founded the new PNI, a political movement that's more radical than the original one. Because of his political activities, he imprisoned in Cipinang and later exiled to Bovendigel and Banda Neira, where he spent 6 years there with Hatta. During the Japanese occupation, Sjahrir chose to move underground. Unlike Sukarno and Hatta, he refused to cooperate with Japan and pushed for Indonesian independence. Even though in the end he wasn't present at the proclamation ceremony. After independence, he became the first Indonesia Prime Minister, while also serving as Minister of Home Affairs and Foreign Affairs. Sjahrir believed in diplomacy, a path that often criticized, yet it laid the foundation for free and active foreign policy in Indonesia. One of the memorable acts when Indonesia sent rice to famine-stricken in India that proved a small gesture, but one that showed the great humanitarian solidarity from a new independent nation. Yet his personal life was far from easy. His reunion with Maria in New Delhi marked the end of their marriage. Later, he married Poppy, his loyal assistant, and had 2 children. In the end of his life, Sjahrir was arrested and taken to Madiun, East Java, after being accused of involvement in the attempt to overthrow Sukarno. Sjahrir's health continued to deteriorate and suffer a stroke and experienced complications that ultimately left him unable to speak. His very request to President Sukarno to take him abroad for the treatment. Finally, Sjahrir was taken to Switzerland, where he spent his final days in there. There is a part that made me crying, was how this book empathized that Sjahrir never had his own people, even though he was once imprisoned by his own nation. There is also a heartbreaking story about how he could no longer speak to his children due to his illness. This book is beautifully captured the spirit and the humanitarian of human personality of Sjahrir, and I'm so sorry that I may not be able to perfectly tell the story of this book because it's related to a long journey of someone's life, and I highly recommend it, especially for anyone who wants to learn Indonesian story from various angles. Bye.